Wait, remember Sanjay and Craig? The 2013 buddy comedy show that follows the adventure of Sanjay and his friend Craig, who is a talking snake. Despite having 3 seasons with 60 episodes, the majority of talk around this show seemed to be heading more negative. And I'll admit, this less than stellar word of mouth definitely pushed me away from giving this show a proper watch. But today, I wanted to give the show an actual chance for myself since it's been 9 years from the original release of Sanjay and Craig. Let's look into what this show was, how it came to be, what happened to the show, and if the word of mouth I heard was warranted or not.
It's perfect math.
Whoa, I can't see anything. Yeah, that's because you're wearing a Manta Sleep mask, and now sleeping for you should be a breeze. Oh wow, they do work great. So if you couldn't tell, I don't get a lot of sleep. That's something I've been actively trying to fix for myself. In order to aid in my better sleeping habits, Manta Sleep sent me their Manta Sleep mask, as well as adjustable max eye cups to help me completely and comfortably block out and black out any external light or distractions to my rest. I've actually had these for about a month now, and I've noticed a drastic change in how easily I can fall asleep, and have continued peaceful sleep with no interruptions. Manta Sleep has a stance to take against that hustle culture of over-pushing yourself and wants you to treat yourself better, feel more rested, and not ashamed to take a nap if you need to, with many adjustable versions of the mask that suit you, like the options for a cool mask experience, a steam mask experience, an aromatic experience, as well as weighted, silk material, and pro options for the mask. Plenty to choose from that work just for you, and if you're not sure which one is perfect for you, you can head over to Manta Sleep's website to take the sleep personality quiz to help guide you. As a big advocate for mental health, sleep is extremely important, and I have surely neglected my own because my lack of it. So it's time for me to start changing that. And if you need that change for yourself as well, or just want to have a better sleep, Manta Sleep masks can help get the job done. Click the link in the description and use code FRINGE for 10% off when you get your high-quality Manta Sleep mask. Thanks so much to Manta Sleep for sponsoring today's video.
Oh yeah, y'all funky. Y'all know what's happening.
Sanjay and Craig, for lack of a better word, is interesting. Sanjay Patel is your average kid, struggling to fit in with others around him or make the impression he wants to make on his crush. Craig Slithers is a snake, but really only in appearance, as after the two of them become best friends in the Best Friends Hall of Fame, which there is no Best Friends Hall of Fame, they made that up, he can talk, with very few in on that secret. To pull off a lot of the stuff these two get into, Craig usually dons many disguises to blend into the everyday human world. Sanjay, voiced by Malik Pancholi, lives out his day-to-day life in the town of Lundgren with Craig, voiced by Chris Hardwick, as they get into some silly adventures and scenarios that often cause them to navigate around their neighbor, Mr. Nudeman, who hates snakes. He is voiced by Tony Hale. A typical episode would play out with our duo getting into random everyday situations that can sometimes turn into way more exciting over-the-top adventures, which at the time did pull in parallels from regular show, although I never felt that the two were close enough for that to be a true fair comparison. Adventures ranging from trying to find a new laugh as they think that theirs are annoying, to trying to find a secret pool in the middle of the woods. There's a lot of different adventures and things for these characters to do. What's nice is the relationship between Sanjay and Craig, with Craig being more than a pet to Sanjay, plus he hates when you call him that. It showcases a great friendship that while they get to be wacky and have fun as a kid, and I guess a snake should, there is heart here. He does have a friend group consisting of Hector and Megan. Hector, voiced by Matt Jones, can be a bit much to handle sometimes. He has an eye patch and has a crush on Megan, who doesn't have a crush on him, but rather has a slight one on Sanjay, who he doesn't reciprocate back because he has a crush on an older girl, Belle, who works at their main hangout place. I know that sentence was a mouthful, but we're moving on. Megan, voiced by Linda Cardellini, is often shown being a caring friend with big goals in her own life. Sanjay's home life consists of his parents Vijay and Darlene Patel, who both know about Craig's ability to speak. Voiced by Kunal Nair and Gray Delisle, they are pretty busy dealing with their jobs, where Vijay owns and operates a clearance store and Darlene is a nurse and surgeon at the hospital. Going back to the neighbor, he's essentially the show's antagonist, if you'd like to call him that. He has a fear of snakes thanks to his father, who would constantly pull pranks that scarred him when he was younger, making him have a strong dislike of his father and snakes. He He knows something's up about Craig and will stop at nothing when given the chance to go after him and, by extension, Sanjay. The show is full of some fun and weird characters to mix in with a bunch of slapstick and sometimes gross out comedy. The voice cast beyond this is stacked, from small one-off characters to many reprisal characters, so it was always engaging based on the talents for what the show had to offer. But the show had a quite uplifting journey from concept to production, with the show being turned down multiple times. So let's take a look into how Sanjay and Craig came to be.
Okay, stop hugging my grandma.
We'll get ready for more Sanjay and Craig up next.
Jay Howell, Jim Dershberger, and Andreas Trolf. The three creatives behind Sanjay and Craig are a group of do-it-yourself individuals. Their work together spans back way before Sanjay and Craig. One of the factors that turned Sanjay and Craig into what it was is the comic that Jay and Jim both made way back in 2004, titled Sanjay and Craig. It would be based on a snake charmer and his roommate being a snake who would be more crude than the final version of Craig would turn out to be in the final product. These two first got some notoriety for the Forest City Rockers, an internet cartoon as well as the name of their production company, with their goal of just wanting to make something themselves, rather than waiting for the big break opportunity. This worked greatly in their favor as it caught the attention of Audrey Deal, a Nickelodeon executive who moved up the ranks from at the time being the director of development to executive director of animation development and finally vice president of animation development until 2017, when she left and is now over at Warner Bros. Currently. Together, the plan was to sit down and pitch this show to Nickelodeon, but sadly it didn't go over the way they initially thought, with the pitch being turned down not once, but twice. So Jay, Jim, and Andreas sought out advice from how to successfully make this pitch work for the network. The advice would come from Lauren Bouchard, the creator of Bob's Burgers, in which Jay had worked on for character design, which is why when looking at Sanjay and Craig, you can see that Bob's Burgers style in it. Come to find out that their idea wasn't the problem, it's the pitch packet itself. When they first were pitching the show, there was a lot of overambition with fleshed out ideas and concepts that could be a lot all at once to sell the show. Nothing wrong with truly knowing what you want to make, but the network needed a streamlined version of this pitch to hit the basic notes needed. What is the show about? Who are these main characters? Here is what they look like, here is the world they live in, and a few really simple but effective story ideas. Initially, their pitch was around 30 pages, and upon hearing about Bob's Burgers being around only 4 pages, they needed to narrow down the fine points before expanding into all the other side stuff like side characters and other world building, as that would come with the development process of the show. They returned to pitch one more time, now with a 5-page pitch packet that followed these more basic steps. This worked, and almost immediately after, the show was thrust into pre-production, and just like that, Sanjay and Craig was being made. But since none of the creatives have ever produced a show before, Will McRobb and Chris Ficardi were brought on to the show to executively produce it. Here is how the process of making the show differed from most, and maybe the leading cause of why some may not at the time have enjoyed the show, leading me to personally hear more negative things about it. It wasn't focused first and foremost on the writing, but rather than an idea or concept that led to the storyboarding process before the rest would be filled in to create an episode. Now, I don't think this is a bad way of creating. I think you can take something you're working on and tackle it from different angles that seem out of the ordinary. It may aid in the creative process as a whole. Like creating a YouTube video. It can start off with a script, to recording, to making the video, to making the thumbnail. Sometimes the idea of the video is aided by making a thumbnail and certain beats you want your script to hit, which then will lead to the script being written. Everyone has their own process of how they do things, and it's possible to still make something work. Instead, you're just picking a different angle to start with. To add more talent to the making of this show, Thorup Van Orman, the creator of The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack, joined on as a supervising producer for the show's first season. The show premiered on Nickelodeon May 25th, 2013 to 3.6 million viewers, to middling reviews from critics as well as from viewers themselves. The show had gross out, slapstick, and sometimes mean-spirited humor, which can go either way for most people. Either that's the type of cartoon you enjoy, enjoy or the one you stay away from, especially at a time where a lot of cartoons were starting to shift their focus on larger narratives or be solely based on how good the writing is. It seemed that cartoons like Sanjay and Craig weren't flourishing as much as they may have in the past. With all of that being said, the show still found itself with an audience that stayed tuned in, and the show garnered enough support to bring in pretty interesting guests like Snoop Dogg, Dolph Lundgren, Adam Devine, Michael Leon Woolley, Paul Rubens, and Anthony Bourdain. It was renewed twice during its time on the air, resulting in 3 seasons with 20 episodes apiece, with the final episode premiering on July 29, 2016, and being a half-hour special titled Booyah for Bollywood. But what brought the end of Sanjay and Craig? Was there an actual reason leading to this? Ratings, toy sales, etc.? Let's take a look.
You want some wings or something?
More Sanjay and Craig, up next.
June 10th, 2016, a month and a half before the show would premiere its final episode, a tweet popped online from Chris Hardwick, the voice of Craig, saying that the series had officially wrapped production, replying to a fan asking if we could see voice actors like Carrie Walgren and Tara Strong do some voice work on the show, to which Chris replied, "I would, but the series is done. We recorded our last pickups 2 weeks ago," ending the tweet with a frowny face. It was confirmed that the show had finished its production and would come to an end after season 3 was finished airing. While never given an official reason for the cancellation, which we in most cases rarely ever do, most times Nickelodeon cancels shows based on overall ratings. The show already faced an uphill battle versus those initial mixed reviews, but it is surprising to see that 3 seasons were still able to come from a show when many don't make it past 1 or 2. Outside of the show, there really wasn't much to the property. Sure, there was the usual fare of computer games like Messin' with Nudeman, Butter Slide, Nudie Run, Rad Awesome Butt Doctors, the Frycade, as well as being featured in an online brawler game, Super Brawl 3, with a ton of other Nickelodeon characters, and they even made an appearance in a SpongeBob game, Super Easy Fun Time Adventure Pants, as a player distraction. There were also some books and graphic novels, but the series never fully expanded into a ton of merch unless you're a SpongeBob SquarePants type of show, meaning having longevity or some form of action show, it's not surprising we didn't see much of anything. The first season of the show did come to DVD, but if you're looking for the full show, you can currently find it on Paramount+. I thought the show was alright for what it offered. I never found it as gross or as bad as some people had portrayed it to me, so it has its moments that clearly aren't for me for sure, but the relationship of these two friends was still a fun watch, and having the similar look as Bob's Burgers helped in my enjoyment of the show. One thing I legit loved was seeing the nods to classic cartoon game shows, like Double Dare, bringing on Mark Summers and John Harvey, as well as Nickelodeon Guts bringing back Mike O'Malley and Moira Quirk. One day I will own a piece of the aggro crag, but for now, I'll settle as being a YouTuber just talking about it. The show has a charm to it, and you can feel the love the creators had for it poured into the final product. It just didn't resonate with everyone, and maybe will be looked back on fondly by those who did. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, we just passed the 9th anniversary since its original premiere. I think the show had some fun ideas with some fun characters, but after 3 seasons, I think it got to tell quite a bit of fun adventures with a boy and his best friend, who's a snake. Let me know your thoughts on Sanjay and Craig. Was it something you enjoyed, or was it not your cup of tea? Tell me in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll be back with another video soon, but until then, later.